Friends, if you listen to the podcast, this is my girl. This is Claire Lidell Hanna. We've done the podcast, obviously, and I thought this would be like a beautiful way to like close the loop on our conversation because we don't get to talk a lot.
No.
We literally have waved across the show floor to each other 3 years in a row now. But I love your garden, and I think every year you do something really unique and really interesting, and I like that you push the envelope of what people are expecting.
Thank you.
And this year, your color story also is singing my song. But if you've listened to the podcast, you heard the little teaser. You've been canning like a mad woman, like a crazy train. But I want you to walk us through your experience of the garden, your favorite spots, your favorite moments.
Things.
Oh my gosh. Take it away, Claire.
Okay, so this is our take on an edible ornamental garden. And we start here because this garden we're talking about last year's season and this year's season. And so we have last year's season of preserves and then the beginning of the next year's season. And with our beautiful, this is our nectarine, our beautiful nectarine from Rain Tree they let us borrow. And this is all about just seasonality and the cycle of seasonality here. And aren't these fun? These are peas.
Oh, this was one of the very first things I noticed when I was going around. I saw this river of canned Bounty, and then when I looked closer, it's the spring peas.
Yeah, it's just the start.
It's like those little yummy tendrils. It's so good.
So
it is so good.
Thank you. It starts here. And the river flows through the garden and it ends at the table because that's really where it ends up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I mean, these roses, they're beautiful. They're like, those were like a last minute detail, but they're
also,
gorgeous.
Don't you feel like a rose is a perfect addition to an edible garden?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hips, the petals.
The hips, the petals, sugaring the petals.
Yeah.
I love a rose. We could go on for days.
Yes, definitely. So we've underplanted things with chard. And the goal was with this color palette was really to call back to the color of the preserves. And
it's so well done.
To like bring that through because oftentimes in a winter garden or a early spring garden, the color's kind of missing. And so we wanted to show the color and the vibrancy and to kind of bring that together. And so, underplanting with chard and parsleys and, oh my gosh, do you love those? I know.
I love.
I use those everywhere.
Bountiful blue, yes.
Yeah, bountiful blue. These are evergreen blueberries. And I mean, the fall color is gorgeous. And in the summer, they have that like leathery kind of blue.
Yes,
it's a nice
adds
color.
A certain something, doesn't it?
Blueberries are, my favorite. And then a guava. Pineapple guava.
This is a pineapple guava.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And these will grow here. They just might not
thrive.
They sometimes they struggle depending on where you're at location wise, but they're not going to fruit, but they will grow here. And then in our pot, we have this from Rain Tree as our papaya.
Can I have Brian like step up in here very gently? Okay.
We lost 2.
No.
They're in our little tray over there. Isn't that fun?
I've literally never seen this fruit here.
Yeah.
Never. Not once.
And then loquats, these are lovely. And these do grow here. We have these on properties here.
Oh,
and
really?
I mean, it's an evergreen, broadleaf evergreen that you don't see very often. So I love that. And then
this vista is crazy. It is, and I almost like it from the other side too.
I like it better from the other side.
I do too. Okay,
because it frames John's greenhouse. It's
this beautiful vista. Totally. What's so funny is I don't know if I've talked about this before, but taking advantage of borrowed views in landscaping is like
you have to do that. Right?
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, and then talk me through here. I feel like this is where we turn up the heat a little bit more.
Yes, we're going into our reds and oranges.
Yes,
and
love this.
Yeah, these are Bellis Tasso, just the bright red ones, and then ranunculus, the oranges and the reds, and we kind of mix those throughout. These are lingonberries. I think these are underused in the garden as far as like just a small.
They are so adorable.
Ground cover. They get fruit. They're a great one, especially if you have like boggy or wet soils. So those are great.
I used this in forest bathing 2 years ago. I did in my show.
Nice.
And I was like, why aren't people landscaping with lingonberry?
I love them. Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is like
great minds.
I know. Like we're like this is why I love you so much is because you bring so much interest and depth to like this show. It's so good.
I appreciate it. These are our friends at Rainy Day Bees, and we love them. And they hand painted these. Aren't they gorgeous?
I love them.
And they're showing, these are like a styrofoam. Have you seen these?
This is their new form of hive.
Yeah, because it insulates the bees. And I don't know, I'm learning something new with that. So
Winters can be really rough on hives. My aunt's a beekeeper.
Is she? Okay. It's one place I'm like, I stay away because I'm like, I'll just go deep. I can't do it. I have to like hold back, you know?
Oh my gosh. Oh, and okay, I didn't even notice this.
Oh, our penstemon.
I love it.
So it'll just like grow in.
I'm sorry.
Did you miss us, Lloyd?
I'm sorry.
He's got to get in.
Cameo with Lloyd. Cameo on the floor. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So coming back here, I love a container, and you literally are using one of my favorites.
Aren't those beautiful?
I love this little viola.
Yeah.
It's the Deltini.
I saw it on the rack back there, and I was like, I have to have this.
Have you never used this before?
I've used it other places, but I do
You do
landscapes,
yes,
like big landscapes, and so the pots, I love them, but I don't get to play with them as much as I would like to.
Oh, I get to just dive deep, and I love the combination of what you've done. And I think the reason I love this so much is because it pulls through every single color that you're using.
It does a good job of it. I mean, even like the purples and these like dark burgundies, these are beautiful. I'm really loving these. I'm also loving all the little saxifrage. I love these underplanted under like raspberries or all sorts of things. I love those in the garden.
I like the combination here because you get such great leaf texture with your little strawberries.
Strawberries.
So good.
And our little peaches. These are miniatures.
These are
going to
also
bloom.
on loan?
No, I got these locally. Aren't those great? I know.
Okay, I actually...
do you love those?
I did. I Googled over these the other day, and I was like, Pixie. I was like, oh my God, Pixie. Do you think they're going to fruit?
Yeah, our friends there, they have them at their house over in Shoreline.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they
okay.
They're not going to fruit this year because they've been in here and they're not going to get pollinated, but they would normally fruit in the garden. So I think this is a good choice because you can bring it in or out depending on, like, if we're going to have a really hard winter, peaches aren't going to thrive, but you can move it. So again, we like pull the jars through and into our fermenting crocks. So this is all about preserves and honey, fermentation, dried food. Yeah, just like
I love that your river like kind of builds to a bit of an apex here. That's so good.
And the orange is just a callback to the dogwoods behind. I love the midwinter fire. It's just like a classic.
I talk about this one all the time.
It's just like you have to use it.
Well, midwinter fire is also so good because if you're just a pure red stick, you don't get the same impact.
Yeah, I love that one. That one's my favorite.
Love the good use of hellebore too. That color like drives home that raspberry.
Yeah, hellebores, you can't go wrong in a winter garden.
No.
You know, spring, winter, it's a great choice.
It pulls your foliage of the blueberries so well.
Isn't that, it's just like
it's
so
beautiful.
Good. You have these ideas in your head and then you start to put them in. You're like, when they work, you're like, yeah. Oh my God.
When they work, do you feel like a genius? You're like, I'm a genius.
Yeah. I feel like, relief.
Yeah. It's so good though. It's so good. Now, this vista down here we're going to wait until we have a little bit of a clearing, but this vista is one of my favorites because I think this is where you get the largest impact of that yummy color story. And just like you were talking about the river that comes through this way, there's a river that flows straight through your display garden and then right into that borrowed landscape that we were talking about. And so tell me about this choice, these decisions. Did you have a vision for this?
Yeah, I kept saying, guys, I want to like shoot the eye down. I want to feel enveloped. I want that like cozy, I want that just like hug,
Your pathway feels held. It does. It feels held.
Yeah, that's such a compliment. I love that.
But it is so true. And like the color of the dogwood comes down. I love like the in and out of it. And then to anchor it with these massive dimensional steps, this was a good choice.
It's hard to kind of play sometimes with these like hard, like heavy materials and the softness. But I love
that
doing
tension.
that. Yeah, I think it works, right? And it makes it more, it feels grounded, I guess.
I agree.
You know?
I was talking to John about his use of metal and grasses.
Yeah.
That tension right there,
Yeah.
this like soft, billowy with like this rusty and crusty and like sturdy. It's the same thing here. It's bubbly and it's frothy. And then you have just this base.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm so nerding out on this right now.
Oh, thank you. These are our pots from Potteryland. I went to Potteryland and Kate had pulled some of my favorites. These were some of my favorites, but I also had some other ones that I wanted, but Kate already had them. So
sorry, not
I
sorry.
had to make do.
This is it's fun to follow each other around. Oh my gosh.
The grapes, these are fun because these,
oh, it's a grape.
You know, yeah, these are grapes. I love the structure of a grape. And the vineyards they're having a moment, they're having a hard time right now. And so these are salvaged, repurposed, like they've been pulled out of an old vineyard.
No.
Yeah, and so I'm like, you can only do so many, grapevines in a yard, but man, I love the way a grapevine just envelops. And I would love to just have it just like hug this whole space.
Don't you feel like a grapevine, it's like this gnarled element that immediately gives you a sense of history?
Yeah, definitely.
Because this garden does feel fresh and new, but these two pieces, they take it somewhere different.
I love the moss. It came with the moss. I know. I was like, yes.
I would pay for the moss. We literally pay for moss. We will adhere it. Oh my gosh. Talk me through this.
Okay. And then we're just bringing these jars back. These are another version of blueberry. This is a small shrub blueberry. I think it's native to the East Coast. And so they're not going to get much bigger than this. But this is where we're pulling in the white palette because the blooms on these blueberries is, it's that like lovely little white pink. And so I'm hoping these will bloom quickly here for this show. But these would be great in a small space garden if you still want to add blueberries, but you can't get like a 5 to 6 foot blueberry in, or you want to put it in a pot or put it on a deck. I think these are a great choice.
This is also good if you have toddlers.
Yeah.
It's like little toddler height.
Oh, I used to find my son in the blueberries. Oh. Like when I first moved up here, like, where is he? Where is he? And
he's
he was
getting
like
a snack.
In the blueberries. He's like 2. He's just in them.
I love that.
And then it's the apple. Call back to apple, dried apples. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. We were snacking on dried apples last night. Oh my gosh. And then rounding it down again, I love that you can see the river. And this is where it ends, it terminates into the table. It's so good. Talk to me about the table. And also, I saw your floor on day one.
Oh my gosh.
And immediately freaked out.
Don't you love these? I found these in the Mutual material lot. And I was like, I have to have these. I think they're Coal Creek, but these are from Mutual, and these are a clay. They're doing a lot of clay, and I'm so into brick right now. I wanted to use a little bit more because just that orange kind of plays with this garden, but I ran out of space, You
have so many ideas all percolating in your brain, and they're all good.
Thanks.
Okay, and so tell me about your table because this is so cool. It is so fun.
This is copper that's been salvaged from an old kitchen. And so copper is one of those things that we use in jam making because it is such a great conductor of heat. And so it is like classic jam preserving metal. This is where we go. So the color story for this garden is all about this copper patina. You'll see it everywhere in this garden. And it's all about that. So it's just a callback to preservation and this process that we do. I love this book, by the way. If you're new to doing any preserving and you just want to do like small batch preserving, this is your guy. I love him.
I don't own this book, and I thought I owned every book. This
is a great one.
It's
dog-eared.
What's hilarious is Nicole works with Claire, and Nicole was in my garden looking through one of my books, and she's like, oh, this is like Claire. Like the flags are everywhere.
The tags.
Pages are stuck together. This is a well-loved home.
I love this one. I love that one.
Can I just say one thing that I'm really loving about this conversation with you is I thought I got your garden, right? Like I thought like, oh, I totally get this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until you started talking about the table that I realized this color from the patina and the copper pulls in these beautiful structure and it dictates the oranges that we're seeing in the preserves. And like, I honestly feel emotional about this garden because it's so good. And I don't know if we could ever have enough space on our billboard to like describe these details.
It's so hard to do it, to dial it in for just like a little bit. Like, yeah.
And Brian tells me this all the time because I in my garden I added these little things like the pixie dust spruce and moonstone spruce, and
but it's in your head.
It's in
a
your
decision,
head.
And you make all these decisions while you're developing these gardens, and they're all attached and they're connected, but we don't always get to talk about it or to like.
And you hope people see it.
Yeah, and they do. They pick out little things, and they pick out little parts of things, and then you're like, oh, I love that came through. But I think that's the fun thing about being at the show and getting to talk to people and getting to like experience them in your garden, because you don't always get to experience people living in your gardens.
And you get to experience their reactions too, which I think is like
it's lovely,
so insane. Right? The show is officially open, so we have to go back to talking to people. We get to go back to talking to people, right? Claire,
losing my voice.
I know, losing our voice again. Where can people find you? What are you most excited about in your world right now?
Oh, man. People can find us at relish-gardens.com or online I think we're at relish.gardens.
Yeah, we're somewhere. We're somewhere.
We're there. Yeah, all of the places. Yeah. And
you have a podcast?
We have a podcast that Kate was kind enough to come and be on. And that was such a great conversation. I feel bad that we had to cut it down, but I'm like,
we're going to do more.
Good. We got to do more.
We're going to do more.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're like birds of a feather.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to like, oh, you have the brain. Like our brains are
they're like weirdly wired together. It's amazing. I will link everything Claire Lidell Hanna related in the description below so everyone can follow you, find you, listen to the podcast, listen to these juicy conversations that we get to have. Thank you for having me in your garden. I have just loved every second.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, say hello to your garden for me.